My Tahoe's falling apart. I know what I gotta do. All right, so I know it's been quite a while since I put a video out, but I wanted to make an update on the situation because a lot of you guys are fans of my 2004 Tahoe here, aka Tahiti, and I think you deserve an explanation for what is kind of going on with it right now. Last week I was parked in the city like I usually do. I parked this thing in the street whenever I could find a spot, and I came out, well, I parked it Sunday night. I came out Monday morning, and that's when I found all of this damage. If you follow me on Instagram or keep track of the community tab on the channel, you'll saw I posted just a picture of the damage right when I found it on the street. And with this damage that I have here, I think it's time to kind of assess the entire truck SUV, both mechanically and visually, and decide what I want to do with it at this point. Now, on paper, fixing this thing does not make any sense. It has 240,000 miles on it. The front end alone, to do the hood, the grill, well, you know, let me give you a close-up of what we're dealing with right here. You can see the hood. It's got a pretty substantial dent right here. The grill's cracked, pretty much just falling apart at this point. Both the lights were hanging out when I found it, and the tabs, because they clip into the grill, they're broken off. The little plastic that's behind there that I think the grill connects to, that's broken, and it's mostly visual stuff. The hood still opens and closes no problem. The radiator, the transmission cooler, everything behind there is fine. But yeah, if I'm gonna go and fix this myself, I'm assuming it's probably gonna be, well, if I went to a body shop, I'm assuming it's gonna be probably like $2,500, maybe more worth of damage. That's assuming that they either put labor into fixing the hood or just get an OEM replacement, an OEM grill, paint everything to match, the, you know, the turn signal lights, all of that. Now, sure, I could do it myself and save money, but still I got to get a hood, I got to get a grill, and I'm not painting because I'm not a body guy. So I'd still have to pay to have everything paint matched, and that's going to be the biggest cost of this. So basically just a little backstory before I get on to, you know, the rest of what's going on with it. I parked it in the city last Saturday, like I just said. I didn't come out Sunday at all, so it was just parked on the street. I came out Monday morning to go to work, and that's when I saw the damage. Now, I was parked right at like the entry kind of like driveway of a parking garage, so nobody could actually park in front of me because there's literally just a driveway here. So it's not like somebody was backing up to park and they could have hit it. Initially, I thought, and it's still my theory, that like a truck backed into this, because for this to get hit, it had to be like a, you know, a loading platform of like a moving truck or something that just kind of tapped it, and the lights are clipped into the grill, so if this just gets pushed hard enough, obviously they're just gonna pop out. When I first saw the damage, I did kind of assess the area to see if there were any cameras. Unfortunately, I do not have a dash cam. I technically have one. I bought it over a year ago. I just haven't had time to install it. So yeah, that's just been sitting around in the box doing absolutely nothing, and if I had it, I could have easily figured out what happened. But aside from that, I looked around the area. I didn't see any cameras. I noticed the garage across the street, they had a camera kind of facing right down at their driveway, because there's a garage on this side where I was parked, and directly across there's another one, and they had some cameras right in front of the driveway, but I just figured they're probably just facing down to see the driveway so they could let cars in when they ring the bell to open the gate. Anyway, I couldn't do anything at the time. I drove it to work. I came back to the city this weekend. I'm filming this on Sunday, so I was there yesterday, and I figured, let me try to figure out what the hell happened. I went to the building in front of where I was parked. Their cameras cut off right before where I was parked, so that didn't see anything. I went down into the parking garage right where I was parked at. They don't have any cameras in front of their gate. Then I shot across the street to the parking garage directly across where I saw those cameras, and their camera actually also, it's literally just facing directly down at the sidewalk to see if there's a car there. So that was pretty much useless. But I did notice that they had a second camera directly next to that that wasn't on their screen. So I figured that was being controlled by the building itself. So I went into the security office of the building, told them what happened. They were actually very helpful, and they're going to review the footage because their camera actually can see that. So we're kind of in the middle of seeing what exactly happened. But yeah, basically this needs to be fixed. There are some other things going on For one, since we had all this salt and this snow this year, the bumper rust is starting to get worse. This is rotted through. And to kind of add insult to injury, this whole week has kind of been like a curse with this thing, because the damage happened last weekend, and then just on Friday of the same week, 2 days ago, I got pulled over because they said I was going 42 in a 25, which I really find hard to believe, because you kind of know when you're speeding in this thing. It's not like I'm driving the Camaro. And not only that, I was on a street that's known to have cameras and a very low speed limit, so I know I was watching my speed. But regardless of that, they also got me for obstruction of plate, because my backup camera here is covering where it says New York. So I got a ticket for that. I got a ticket for speeding, and the front of it got mangled up a few days before. So right now it's not looking good for Tahiti. Once again, she got 240,000 miles on it. And I will say, since I bought this thing 2 years ago, it has been absolutely great to me. Mechanically, it's never left me stranded. It's always ran 110%, plenty of power, doesn't burn any oil. The ride's great. There are no weird noises. The front end is solid for the amount of miles it has on it. I just threw like an idler arm and a pitman arm on it. You know, tires, brakes, the usual maintenance stuff. I blew out reverse in the transmission, which was entirely my fault, so I rebuilt that. You know, so that didn't cost me too much money. But other than the whole transmission thing, it's just been absolutely great, and I do really like the way it drives. But coming back to the kind of body issue here, the Nerf bars here, I noticed when I would wash it, started noticing this last summer, when I would step on it to kind of wash the roof, you can see these are really weak. And just recently, this one made a clicking noise. It kind of popped like that. And now that's really loose as well. Coming over to the other side, these are basically going the same way. They've gotten really, really spongy over the last year or so. And I am pretty sure that behind this plastic cover, because this is a Z71, so it has this plastic over it, and it has the, you know, the rocker, the step-up bars. I bet behind here, this is all going to be rotted out, rocker-wise. Coming here, I just noticed this recently, which wasn't here when I got it. We got some rust bubbling up, and I bet where the rocker, or where the Nerf bar actually mounts to the rocker, it's probably got a giant rot hole in it. So at this point, we have to fix the front end. It's probably going to need rockers, and I have no intention of doing the rockers, at least, you know, doing them myself. I absolutely despise body work. The whole reason why the next Trans Am video is taking so long is because there's a lot more rust in that floor than I thought. So I've kind of been spending some time cutting the rust out, patching it up, and I just despise that kind of work. It's tedious, it's boring. That's why that video is taking a little long, but I am halfway done with it, and I am editing it as I film it, so I promise I will have that out very, very soon. But on top of all that, the differential, it's leaking. It still does have 240,000 miles on it, and if I can't get the money to get this fixed out of my pocket, I got to fix the front end. At the very least, I'd have to patch the rockers up myself. I prefer to just replace them all as one unit instead of just kind of cut them and patch them. I mean, theoretically, I could just cut the rust out, depending on how bad they are, patch them up, and just throw this stuff back on top. I wouldn't really have to paint it because you're not going to see it. That is a, you know, probability, and the least of my problems would be to fix this and, you know, touch it up. But the two major problems are the rockers and obviously the front end. So at this point, a 16, 17-year-old Tahoe with 240,000 miles, pretty much a dime a dozen type of GM truck SUV, it makes absolutely no sense for me to put the money into it to fix it. Now, with that being said, I've never really made any decision vehicle-wise that made any sense, so I'm going to do the exact opposite of what I should do and build the entire truck. Yeah, I know. It's not a truck, it's an SUV. It's just easier to say truck than to constantly just say SUV. But yes, I am not getting rid of Tahiti whatsoever. Instead, not only am I gonna fix the stuff that's damaged, I'm going to improve it tenfold, and we are actually gonna we're gonna do a legit build on this, not just little repairs, you know, seat covers, idler arms, stuff like that, little brake upgrade. We are probably gonna lift it. We're gonna fix the front end. I'm thinking a 2500 HD front end, hood, grill, bumper. We're gonna fix the rockers. I'm either gonna remove the nerf bars altogether or get different ones, because once it's lifted, I am gonna, you know, still have to climb in and out of it, and I have a feeling I'm gonna want to have the steps there. But pretty much what it comes down to, this is my main mode of transportation. You know, I have the Astro, but I like driving this thing more, and it's been great to me. It drives fine, it's comfortable, the transmission's doing great, and I don't have collision on it. So if I had collision, I could get the front end fixed, but at the same time, it would probably be totaled, so that wouldn't really work out anyway. You know, it's 16, 17 years old. It doesn't make sense to put collision on it. But I figured I don't plan on getting a brand new car anytime soon. I find more enjoyment in just modifying what I have and kind of restoring stuff and making it clean. So that's pretty much exactly what we're gonna do with Tahiti here. And yeah, I know I'm still working on the Trans Am, and I wanted that car done by spring, and we still might get it done before summer, maybe like late spring. I have everything planned out on what needs to be done. Once the interior is back together, well, you know, the welding and the sound deadening is down, which is the next video coming out. That's going to be another long one. That's why there's so many days between uploads, because I'm actually, you know, I'm making thorough heavy content videos, really trying to just kind of take big steps and get the car done, instead of, I could have probably made 4 or 5 videos on what I'm doing right now, but it doesn't really make any sense. It's just kind of boring to me. But yeah, we're basically just going to be switching on and off between the Tahoe and Trans Am. I know, I feel like I always make a video like this. Okay, this is the new plan for the channel. We're gonna do this now, we're gonna do this now. But honestly, I'm just trying to adapt to exactly what's going on right now. I wasn't planning on this getting hit, and if I'm going to have to pay to get it fixed, I'm not gonna put stock parts on it. I'm gonna do what I was planning to do from the beginning and actually repair it and put the, you know, the 2500 front end on it. And basically this build is going to be coming a little bit early to what I had planned. I was actually going to do this after the Trans Am was up and running, but it looks like you guys are going to get it a little early. So let's run back to the house. I want to pull those nerf bars off, because I'm actually going to go to the body shop tomorrow. I want to get an estimate for the front end damage in case we find out who hit it. I want to have a paper estimate, so maybe I could get them to pay for it. And while I'm there, I want to get an estimate, a separate estimate for the rockers, assuming they are going to be rotted out. All right, so being in the driveway, I don't have my tool collection that I got at the garage. I'm just using this $30 Harbor Freight kit, but it's pretty simple to at least get access to under here. I'm just pulling these little push pins out that go along here, and with those off, I'm going to then take these nuts off of here. Then I think the whole bar will come off away from the rocker, and then I think this will just unclip from that bracket, and we can see what's going on under here. By the looks of it, just kind of popping my head in here, it looks like this bracket is like riveted to the rocker, which I was not expecting. I just figured this kind of bolted to the frame under here, but I guess they did this for the Z71 so this cover can just kind of clip to something. All right, well, I didn't even have to remove the bar, and I can already kind of see what's going on. The part up front here, the rivets pulled out. I guess they just corroded and fell through, or it's possible, because, you know, water can easily get in between here. This might just be rotted out, and there's no material for the rivet to kind of sit in anymore. I'm not sure. I mean, towards the back where we got the rust, you can see it looks, oh yeah, I think that's gonna, there might be some rot under there. Oh yeah, we got some rot. Damn it. Over here looks like it's kind of just starting to start underneath the tape that's on here, but yeah, that's totally rotted through. The rest of it doesn't look bad. It seems like just the rivets, they just corroded and fell out. Literally none of these had rivets on them, so they're just being held in place by the bracket underneath. So that's why they were so spongy, but I still don't think they were gonna break off because this, you know, this bracket's pretty robust. Before I can get this off, I just have to zip these brackets off. It looks like there's like 10 millimeters holding them to the inside of the rocker. All right, so I finally got the entire rocker off, and this is basically what we're dealing with. So the usual GM rocker rot, really not bad. You know, it's not good, but it could be way worse. It's pretty much focused just towards the top here. The bottom side of the holes where the bracket for the rocker mounts, there's no rot down there, and it's just this 1 foot section. So basically from here to here, everything down there is completely solid. And just like I said earlier, the only reason it was loose is because those rivets just corroded and they pulled out of the body. So I can easily just get some fresh rivets, get that pop back on. This I'm gonna have checked out by the body shop because I don't feel like dealing with any kind of welding with what I'm doing with the Trans Am right now and painting this. So I'm gonna see if they could just cut this out, you know, weld in a patch, paint it to match. The only thing I'm not sure about is whether or not I want to put this back on. So what do you guys think? No rocker, no you know, rocker step, nerf bar. That's completely stock with it. And you know, being I have this off, if I do decide to put it back on, I can you know, restore this, respray these a satin black, restore the plastics, put them on, and they'll look really, really good. It's just, do I wanna put them back on? So definitely leave a comment, let me know what you think. But as of right now, I still got to pull the other side off. Hopefully there's nothing going on there. I hope it just pulled out. The rivets just broke like this side and there isn't any rust because I don't see anything creeping up through the door there. And yeah, the easiest thing would be to have that fixed and then just put all this back together. Because the other thing is, if I decide to take them off, I'm going to have this patched because this trim piece connects to the fender here. So I'm gonna have two holes there that are gonna be blatantly visible. Under here, if I really want to save some money, I could potentially just have this fixed and then get some little body plugs and just plug these up and have them painted body color, because this is so flat under here, there is no way in hell you're ever gonna see that. The only thing that really needs to be fixed is the rust and those two holes there. So that's another option if I want to save a little money. But definitely let me know what you guys think. And for the back here, if I decide to keep everything off, I'm just gonna leave this section on here because I'm not getting aftermarket bumpers. I'm just gonna have the stock ones repainted. Obviously we have to put an HD one in the front with the new grille, but this pretty much ties into here. It's a good, you know, rock splash shield for the back kind of rocker here, so that could stay. And then we'll just have to really remove that front piece that hangs down and patch those holes. Also, if anybody wants to pull these off, the way they're actually connected, this bracket wraps around the rocker, and then this piece here, there's a Torx bolt that's holding this bracket to the inside of the body, and then the rear AC, not the AC, well, yeah, I guess the AC and the heater lines run across this, so I had to take the retainers off for those. They're just held in place with a 10mm nut and they just pull away, but that bracket just comes up around here and screws in right to this this metal here. And then there are some 10mm bolts that come down with the nut, and they go through right there. So the 10mm, the Torx head bolt that goes to the top, and then the front here was riveted. So all that was still in place, so it wasn't actually going to break off. But the fact that the rivets pulled out of the front here, that's why it was so spongy. And yeah, the funny thing is the rust had nothing to do with it, because even the holes back here are still perfectly intact. The rivets just broke from being old. But yeah, I saw this creeping up, and we do need to have this fixed. All right, so I just pulled the cover on the driver's side. I'm not even going all out and pulling this because this looks absolutely fine. I see absolutely zero rot on any of this. And I popped my head underneath, and same thing, you can see right underneath there's just absolutely no evidence of rust. And that's how the other side was underneath too, which is why I never thought, you know, I was gonna have rocker rot under there. But once I saw it creeping up through the door, that's when I knew to check it out. And once again, this is totally flat, nothing's bubbling. So I'm probably gonna just pop this one back on. For the other side, a lot of you guys might not agree, but I think I'm just gonna clean them up, restore the plastics, paint the, you know, the factory bars, and put them back on. I like the look of having the bar on there, and honestly, even if I have this fixed, I'm gonna end up with some kind of a side step anyway, even if these didn't go back on, because especially when I lift it, I'm not going super high with it. I'm probably just gonna do a level, but still, I want to put something on there because I know my girlfriend's definitely gonna have a hard time getting in and out of it. And you know, it's kind of convenient having the step, especially when you have snow. It's easier just to kind of reach over, grab the step, and then climb in instead of trying to hop right up inside that way. But I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go tomorrow, get an estimate, see what it's gonna cost to get this fixed, get an estimate for the front end. And then I think I'm gonna make an update video just on the cost, what it's gonna cost to get the front end fixed, the rot. I'll give you guys an update if we check the footage for the cameras to see what actually hit it. And from there, I think the build's gonna start on the HD front end. But for now, that's gonna do it for this one. Keep a lookout. A few days, I'll have another Trans Am video out for you. And yeah, I'll see you then.